Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the JD Theory Podcast. Today, I've got the October 14th episode of NWA Powerrr titled Entre el Dragón. We're on the road to NWA 77. Now, this kicks off tag team action. We get the Lost versus Mondo and Slade. Now, this is the first time we're seeing Mondo and Slade since their impressive Crockett Cup run. Aaron Stevens has selected them to compete for him, while, of course, the Lost is with the Sinister Minister. Now, sorry for the pause so early. Had to catch my breath. Just ate breakfast. Had some granola, peanut butter granola, and some whole milk, baby. You know it. And what's going on is, we're having this match. Here's some of my notes. Mondo, he looked incredibly physical. It adds a lot of oomph to when he's beating up Alex Misery. Misery, he is able to get in some offense towards the end. He gets a big cutter. He gets the hot tag to Lev. Off the hot tag, Lev is cooking. He's even working Mondo a little bit. And there's a great spot where Lev targets Slade and Mondo and is able to get... when Lev targets Slade and then Mondo is able to get a wicked flying kick on Misery. This is one of the craziest high-speed, high-impact running kicks I've seen, bro. This is a great episode, must I say, off the rip. Now, off this, Lev almost gets a 3 count with a sneak roll-up after Mondo does that because he starts gloating a little bit. It was a beautiful sequence, it really was. And after this, Mondo would get the win, of course, catching Lev with the gut check for the 3 count. Now, what did this match accomplish? We're giving Mondo and Slade some momentum back. Also, we're playing into the Aaron Stevens and Father James Mitchell rivalry that we saw develop last week. A little bit of a battle of the managers. Who calls the shots? Who's been here? You know what it is. This is a pretty good match to start the show. We'd go to the power station. Kylie Page approaches the beneficiary lawyer. We learn that she was disqualified from the winnings of $12 million since she missed the meeting. Damn. And of course she tries charming her way into getting back into contention, but now if she was to hop back in, she's cutting into her family member's steak. Spicy. Now this is building up some drama. Maybe we see Kylie and Kenzie have a fallout or something. You know, who knows where this is going. But we've been sitting on this plot line for a while now, and I am interested to see where it's going, what it leads up to. We would then get Tom Latimer, his replay from 2 weeks ago, where he acknowledges Thrillbilly, but he says you gotta work for it. And, you know, this seems like this is going to be the match for 77, since we're touching on it again. It's building it up a little bit, and then we would get to, I think, the best match of the night, in my personal opinion. Kerry Morton versus Dylan McQueen. Now, this is Dylan McQueen's first match returning to the NWA. We're reminded that Morton is currently one half of the United States Tag Team Champions. And off rip, Kerry Morton wastes no time getting disrespectful. He steals Dylan's necklace. He hits him with a suplex on the concrete outside. And after a big splash, he pins, clearly primed for a 3 count. And then he ends his own pin just to be disrespectful, which is certainly, you know, the theme of this match. And I really do like Kerry's style, too. It reminds me a lot of Pete Dunne. Of course, now, Pete Dunne in WWE. They don't have him doing anything but being a jobber, but that style of just picking apart your opponent slowly, every limb, targeting every piece of the body very particularly. It's like picking apart a rib off the bone, you know what I mean? He's just picking them away. And we do see Dylan get offense in when Kerry goes to gloat on the ropes, and he lands a huge pump kick followed by a mean flatliner. But after Morton lands a strike to the head, followed by a knee, and this strike to the head, even the ref had to step in like, whoa, hold on. Are we good to go? Is this a TKO? But yeah, then he would get that big knee. He covers again, and yet again he stops his own cover. And at this point, he's getting huge heat from the crowd. The fans are booing Mr. Morton, and it's just great. Then he picks him up, gives him the fish hooks to the mouth, and then the showstopper to finish the match. Kerry Morton gets a very dominant win here. Now, what did this match accomplish? We're clearly setting up Kerry Morton as a super heel, right? This match was like, goddamn, man. But of course, he is a part of the Southern Six. He's aligned with the Thrillbilly, of course, U.S. champ. And yeah, I wonder what we're going to do from here with Kerry Morton. Do we give him a singles push? Or is this just a match just to lay it in thick, right? So I'm not sure what it accomplished, but I know for a fact, performance-wise, this was my favorite match. I mean, Morton just looked great all around in this. Whew. And then we would get we'd get Eric Smalls versus Trevor Murdoch, which, if you've been watching, this has been one of the funniest things happening, period. It's ridiculous, you know? We start with the recap of Knox and Murdoch's hilarious mini high-low on Eric Smalls from 2 weeks ago, and then they replay last week's promo of them mocking Smalls. And before the bell even rings, I'm excited, because we've really been building this ridiculous plot line. And off rip, Murdoch is goofing. He goes for a grapple above Smalls' head, and then he gets on his knees to square up with him. Now, after a few minutes of Murdoch dominating, he goes to the ropes, misses his landing, and gets hit in the nuts. And wow, the crowd pops for this, man. They are so happy to see Smalls get in any offense. Now, of course, Trevor Murdoch, he would win. And is this going to be the end of this saga? Probably, at least for the time being. Maybe we do something at 77, I don't know. But it's hilarious. And if we keep going with this, I'm not mad because it makes me laugh. Then, of course, Kerry Morton would cut a little promo backstage, calls Dylan McQueen a scrub, gives love to the Southern Six. Oh, and this is right. This is what they do with Kerry Morton. See, I had to get back in my notes. He calls out Alexander Hammerstone. Whoa. I am excited to see this match, but that is a big man to call out. I believe we have not seen Hammerstone since he faced... Did he face Thrillbilly? Is that correct? I believe he faced Thrillbilly Silas Mason a few episodes back before I started covering during the Crockett Cup. And Thrillbilly would get the win in a very cheesy way. I think there was a low blow in there. It was not a clean victory, but a victory nonetheless for the Thrillbilly. Hold on, I'm going to blow my nose. 1 second. Oh, man. It's cold outside. It is cold outside. Colby Carino, then cuts a little promo. We get a replay of last week when Aaron Stevens specifically calls Colby a bum for seemingly no reason. But once we cut to Colby, he gets his shit in. He says, I have boots that have been in this ring longer than you have, to Carson Drake. Now, I think we're building a match for 77 with Carson Drake versus Colby Corino. I'm going to assume that's what's happening. So yes, this match accomplishes that, which that's going to be an exciting match. And then, of course, we would have the Game Store segment. My least favorite thing about Powerrr right now. Vic walks in. La Princesa is there with the girly pops, right? And he says, La Princesa, you could be the NWA Women's Champion. But we need to have a talk one-on-one. And we get things about her not answering his DMs. I'll be honest. This whole dialogue, it sounds like the beginning of a sex scene. It's ridiculous. Are they insinuating this? I don't know. Am I an asshole for thinking that? Maybe. But the way it's written, I don't know. I don't love these segments. I think we could do a little better. This one was a lot more clear than all the previous ones, but overall, let's move on. We would then get Nick Swift versus Damian Fenrir, which this is another great match on this episode. You know, they do officially announce right at the beginning of this match that the next episode will be the beginning of NWA 77. Woo! That's right, baby. We're gonna make it there. And it's gonna be in New York. My hometown, baby. NYC, stand up. Now, from the start, we have Swift going for a ton of submission and pin combinations, very technical style. On the other hand, Fenrir is he's exercising his athleticism and power advantage. Now, the audience, very strong for Swift in this one. And there was a great spot. Swift is climbing the ropes, and Fenrir drops the cleanest drop kick I've seen in a hot minute. God damn, I must say, dude, Damian Fenrir, he looked incredible. Honest to God, incredible in this match. I'm like, this guy is... He looks like he could be a star. He really does. NXT, if you're watching, don't take him just yet, because I want to see what he does in NWA. But also, don't miss out on this guy. Damian Fenrir then hit a wild-looking powerbomb. He gets the 3 count. Very impressive performance all around. Yeah, like I said, Damian Fenrir, keep your eyes on this guy. And of course, at the top of this episode, we would get Tom Latimer defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against El Dragon Nihan. Now, we start off Tom's promo from a few weeks ago saying that Dragon is stepping up against the best in the world. Before we get to the ring, Thrillbilly's promo is thrown in, calls for Tom to stop ignoring him, and Silas cuts one of the best promos the show has ever been blessed with, right? I am very excited for their face-off. Because the Thrillbilly Silas Mason, he might be the most electric person the NWA has, period, right now. Honest to God. Now, after these promos, We do cut to El Dragon, Nihan, and Tom Latimer entering the ring, and wow, when they face off, dude, you clearly see that Dragon is a massive monster of a man, and Tom, he's a big guy himself, so the size difference is boggling. I mean, commentary is great this whole match. I mean, they drop so many quotables coming left and right. Like, I heard Dragon was from the island of Puerto Rico, but I think he is the island. And somebody else says something, instead of height and weight, I told them to measure him in longitude and latitude. Just silly stuff, man. It was great, though. And we're getting in-ring storytelling here in this match. Dragon, he's this mountain that cannot be knocked over. But when Tom finally does knock him down with a hot clothesline, it's a great moment. And then he does the unthinkable, not just slamming, but holding Dragon for some time before executing the slam. Wow. But with anything Tom does, it doesn't seem to faze this beast. A true war of attrition here. The question you're asking yourself the entire match: can Tom chip away enough at this mountain of a man to keep him down? And we would get our answer when Dragon goes to the top ropes, giving Latimer that open to scoop up under him and hit that brighter side of suffering. Boom. Champion remains, gets a big win going into the biggest event of the year. Good on Tom Latimer. Now, with this happening, the Southern Six would run in post-match, with Thrillbilly taking Tom's belt at one point, and then, whoa, the whole locker room begins flooding into the ring. It's a bit crazy. They start getting their digs in on whoever they can. I swear to God, it's like a Royal Rumble, man. You're seeing 30 people in the ring. And this brawl, it gets absolutely wild. Even Kerry Morton even gets a chair shot in on Latimer for a brief bit. And I thought this was a huge way to end the show. Bring out the whole locker room. Have a whole brawl going on. I mean, that's how you make a statement right before going into your biggest event of the year. All in all, this was a great show. Really strong episode of 77. Now, let's talk about some of the matchups for NWA 77. Thrillbilly or Latimer, who do I want to see win? I'll tell you right now. Give it to the Thrillbilly Silas Mason. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. He's got it all, man. The promo ability. He's a huge dude, and he wins in dirty ways. He doesn't ever win. He doesn't win clean. Well, he could win clean, but in big time matches, you're not going to see him win clean against Latimer. He's probably going to do something cheeky, you know. But yeah, you need a big heel champion sometimes, and Latimer, even though he's great, people wanted to see him win Dragon. People were rooting against him when he was up against Colby Carino and Rhino. Of course, in a match like that, you can't really be a face of any sorts. And he wasn't really a face against Dragon either. It was more of like David versus Goliath, when it's just a Goliath versus a bigger Goliath. Either way, give the belt to Thrillbilly. Let him have the run at the top. I think it'd be really exciting. You could have the Southern Six get involved any chance they get. There's a lot you could do with this. So yeah, I'm picking Thrillbilly Silas Mason to beat Tom Latimer and become the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. That's my call. Then we have Natalia Markarov versus Kylie Page. I think you could do the shakeup here as well. I don't know if they do it. Is it Kylie Page or Kenzie Page who's the champ? It's Kylie Page, right? Am I tripping? Am I mixing up their names right now? If I am, apologies in advance, but I'm going to keep mixing them up because I wrote in my notes Kylie Page, and that's what I'm sticking to. I don't know if it's time for her to lose the belt. And I don't know if Natalia Markova is the person to dethrone. Of course, she would beat her sister. I think she said twice. I remember it was one of the episodes of Powerrr, and Natalia got one over on Kenzie. Yeah, it's hard to say. This one's a little harder to say. But you know what? I think it's going to be the biggest 77 ever. Probably happened already, I don't know, but I know these are taped, but I don't look at results. I think I'm going to go for the Natalia Markova wins, because we got Thrill Billy taking the world heavyweight. Let Natalia be the women's champ. Let's switch things up. Huge event, New York. We got the show on Roku, for Christ's sakes now. Pull the trigger. Get a shake-up. Then, Carson Drake versus Colby Carino. Who do I think is winning here? Let's see. I think... does Colby need a win right now? I mean, Colby's a babyface, a big babyface, so he almost always needs a win, in theory. Excuse me, blowing le nose. Yeah, I'm going to go with... Carson Drake, Colby Carino. I think I'm going to go with Carson Drake. I think you need some heels winning, and this one doesn't have a title on the line. I think you can make Carson Drake win. He just aligned himself with Aaron Stevens. I think you want to cement that a little bit, because that makes Aaron Stevens' promise of building up Carson Drake become more true, right? He said, look, you're fooling around. You lost your TV title. If you want to make a statement, pair up with me. I'm going to show you the way to do it. I think we need Carson Drake to win here. I think it means more to him. Now, if it's happening, Kerry Morton versus Hammerstone. I think what we're going to end up doing is, does Hammerstone lose here? Kerry Morton could win dirty. That's the thing. I think Hammerstone bounces around. I don't think he's an exclusive NWA guy. I mean, not too many people are. But I think, do you give it to Kerry Morton? Either way, I want to see Kerry Morton win. I think it could be a strong moment for the faction if both Kerry and Thrill Billy win. So yeah, I'm going with that. Not too certain about that answer, truthfully. If Hammerstone wins, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. In fact, he's probably the favorite just off namesake alone. But yeah, we'll keep it interesting. Kerry Morton, that's my pick. And there's another match. Is Pope and Big Mims going to run it back for the North American Heavyweight Champion? If they are, I think I'm going to go... We saw Pope win in a non-title match. Do you make Pope win again? Could Mims do some... Could there be some unfair play going on here? I think we saw the Immortals run in on Pope in their previous match, post-match. I think you could have Mims win in a heel way, And I think they teased that. So if this match is happening, Pope versus Mims, I'm going to take Mims. Big Mims, baby. And you know what? Kerry Morton versus Hammerstone. Maybe Hammerstone. I don't know. Do you need a big face to win? Right there? I don't know. Either way. Okay, so here's my winners. Thrill Billy, Natalia Markova, Carson Drake, Kerry Morton, and Big Mims. Lock it in. Let's see next week when we dive into NWA 77 on Powerrr. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.